Let's jump in. Guys, welcome to another episode of the Final Third. Game week Corona. We've got a very, very special guest. We've got the Gaffa, manager, Barking FC, and in charge of player recruitment for the under-17s at Colchester. Yes, that's League Two's Colchester, guys. The Gaffa, nice to have you on. Nice to have you on.
Thanks for having me. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Can we just quickly get into like how you got into managing first? Were you a player before? And then if you did play, when did you stop to become a manager? And just quickly, just give a...
Yeah, well, how I got into coaching was I was about 21 and started my coaching at Leighton Orient in the community.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know, like a lot of professional clubs have hubs where they train kids and like sort of foundations.
Yeah.
And that's how I started at 21. I did that for I think about a year, but I wasn't financially really making enough for myself. So I sort of went away from that, went into working with kids in another field. Yeah. But then at 23, I was still playing at this time. At 23, I was playing for a team called Walthamstow Avenue.
Yeah.
We were based in Walthamstow, and they were playing. They were playing at Chingford though. Their ground was in Chingford because there was no ground in Walthamstow for them at the time. And it was about, I think, February, so 3 months before the season ended, the manager stepped down. We were second from bottom in the league, about 10 points adrift and practically relegated.
Yeah.
And the chairman and secretary just said to me, like, can you step in and manage the team? And I was only 23 at the time.
Was you one of the senior players?
I wouldn't. There was older players than me, but I think what it was is I was a leader. I was people that they looked to me for advice, and so I was quite shocked by it. It wasn't something I if I'm honest with you, coaching was something I probably was thinking of doing more with kids, but I never planned at that stage to go into management, especially at 23. I wanted to play football, and then so at first I had to sort of have a think about it, and then sort of the players sort of made my decision. Really said, no, we want you to do it. We want you to do it. Yeah. But it was obvious to everyone that we needed to get better players in if we had a chance of staying up. And the club just said to me, look, we just want you to try and keep us up. We don't expect it, but try. And I managed to get 5 or 6 players to come and join me, friends of that I played with before. And I think this was 2003, 2004. Yeah. And we have 12 games left. We won 8 or more, and I kept them up. It was quite a miracle. So that's where I got my sort of bug for it.
Okay.
And sort of, but then I left at the end of that season after keeping them up because they went to merge with another club. So it all sort of went to pot after that anyway. And then I went back to play, and I played for a team called Eton Manor in the Essex Senior League.
Okay.
In 2005, I was playing for them for a year. And then after that, Bethnal Green, my hometown club, because I'm from Bethnal Green, asked me to come and play for them. They was in the Middlesex County First Division, which you're talking about step 11, so very, very low level.
Yeah.
And I think I was 26 at the time, 25, 26. And then I went and played for them for a season. The following season, the chairman asked me, would I be interested to be a player manager? I did it for that season. We won.
So up until this whole point, from when you got the team, like you kept them up, when you became a player at all the other clubs you were going at, were you still coaching kids, and were you still coaching? No. Okay, you just became a player like full time.
Just played. At that time, I was actually probably playing like 3 or 4 games a week because I used to play for 2 Sunday teams. Yeah. I used to play for a midweek team, and I used to play for a Saturday team, and also going out on a night out. So you can imagine it was quite it was quite fun times at the time. Yeah, I used to just I still love football, so it was just I played as much as I could, and so I was very much enjoying playing. But then Bethnal Green asked me to be player manager. And then my first season, we won a trophy. Again, we won a trophy in our first season, just a cup. And then I think that I can't remember what the name of the cup was. And then the following year, the chairman sat me down and said, "Look, you got to make a decision." He said, "Whether you want to continue playing or be a manager, because I'll be honest, a player manager is not an easy thing to do."
Yeah, I was just going to ask about that. I was going to dive into that, but yeah, go on. Sorry.
I can't think of many successful people even
Successful
at the
one.
highest level. It's not really, because you have to when you're playing, you can't also be the person that's telling the players instructions at half time or where they're doing wrong or right. And then you have to be willing to take criticism from someone who's obviously on the sideline managing the team for you while you're playing. So it's a difficult. It's something I would never recommend to anyone, or I didn't want to do it anymore. So it's different if you're a player coach or a player assistant, because I suppose you ain't got someone's still gonna have a final say.
Yeah.
So I just sat down and thought to myself, I'm not gonna make it as a footballer. I was 27 there. The highest level I probably would have made it would have been Ryman North one. So I said to myself, let me give coaching let me give managing a crack. So I said to I'll step down from playing and just continue to play on Sundays, but concentrated on management. But saying that season I broke my leg and I retired fully from football after that, 27 anyway.
27.
Yeah, I stopped playing football, and then so and then in my first full season as a full manager, I got the club promoted and won the cup and got them promoted to the Essex Senior League.
Okay, and that's how it started properly.
That's how it started properly. Yeah, and from then I've managed every season since I've been in football, up from 2007 till now.
Jeez, so that's what's that? 13? Yeah, like 13 years.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. How difficult it is to be a player manager in terms of players kind of toeing the line, because when you're a player, you have that dressing room player banter, but when you're the manager as well, the respect has to be there. So how difficult was it? Obviously at 20, it's different to when you're 27 and doing it, if you are a player manager.
Yeah. Well, I'll talk more when I was 27, because 23 was only a couple of months really. I don't think it wasn't an issue really, because I was probably one of the better players there, and all there were players that I played with, and we was winning games, and they could see that I was doing the right thing to keep the club up. So in a short spell, player manager probably does work in those situations. But if you're talking about a whole year and doing a pre-season, etc. So yeah, when I was 27 doing it, I don't think anyone really disrespected me. I've been quite lucky to be honest. I don't think I've ever been disrespected in sort of that way, blatantly, so to speak. But we've all been in change rooms. We can all see when a player's thinking, "But hold on, you're telling me what I'm doing wrong, and you're doing the exact same thing." So you know what I mean. Body language is obviously a big giveaway. So that's the biggest thing I found, is that I was making mistakes, as we all make mistakes in football, and I had to, at one thing, acknowledge that, but at the same time, tell someone they're doing something wrong. I didn't find it. I don't think I would have been successful as I have been if I would have stuck at it longer, being a player manager than just being a manager. So yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult for me.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna then touch on. Okay, so from being 27 and managing onwards full time, did you miss it? Did you get on the pitch occasionally, talk about some stuff? Obviously, training sessions you join in, but like, did you ever still carry on playing?
No, I might have played the odd charity game here or the odd Sunday game here, but nothing consistently.
Okay.
And to answer your question, I think I do miss it. I regret probably not playing longer, even if it weren't at a level that I know I couldn't play at a high level, because football is a short career. You're lucky if you play after 30. You're lucky if you play after 35. So another bit of advice I would give anyone is play as long as you can. You can always be a manager. But what was replacing it was the buzz of me winning football matches as a manager and still being in the change room. I was quite fortunate, because when I was 27 and I took the job full time, I was able to pull on my friends that were playing at higher levels to come and play for me.
Yeah. So
having my friends in the change room and me managing them, apart from being on the football pitch, it still felt the change room was quite a buzz. My change rooms are always quite banterish, and so it was quite enjoyable. So I didn't miss it from that aspect. There's times when, obviously, maybe when the season's finished, or watching football on telly, or maybe you're going for a rough time at football, you think, why did you stop playing so early? But in the main, I would say no, managing's helped me to miss it, but it's managing is second to playing. That's a fact. There's no better thing than playing football. I'll tell anyone that, and anyone that has ambitions to go into management, play as long as you can, even if it's at a lower level. unless you've been offered your dream job and you think you might not ever get offered again, just bide your time, because look, I'm 40 now and I've been managing roughly 15 years, 13 consistently with 1 or 2 years player manager. And I'm only 40. I could have started my management career 5 years ago in terms of if I really wanted to. But as I said, I have no regrets. But yeah, anyone I speak to, because I have people that have finished the game, friends, ex-players that phone me up and say they've been given this opportunity. And I just tell them to continue playing as long as you can. And especially if you're a good football player as well, I believe, who knows the game, is knowledgeable and is respected, I believe you're going to get a job opportunity in the future anyway. So,
fair enough. Okay, I want to now dive in a bit more into your managerial style. Yeah, so in terms of like, what type of manager are you? Like the type of manager who's more offensive? This sounds like FM. More offensive, defensive, or like you put your arm around the player. We obviously, where we've seen you shouting at players and stuff, and just getting on your Twitter and just getting showing that you've got a comedic side to you. But when it's time to get serious, it's time to get serious. Like, or like, what type of manager are you? Just give us a bit of a rundown on that.
Well, there's a couple of questions that you asked there. First of all, the style of play, I would say in my beginning of my career, I was definitely all offensive. Probably influenced by watching Dutch and Brazilian football.
Okay.
I just believed if you scored more goals that you would win games. But as my career's prolonged and gone on, I've become more tactically astute, understanding the importance of both sides of the game. Bearing in mind, I was a centre back towards the end of my career, so you'd think that's one area that I should be quite good at. So now it's more being strong all over the sort of pitch and being comfortable. Football players being comfortable in the ball in all areas of the pitch, as well as being able to do their job. So yeah, so in terms of style of play, my teams, we have to play football. We will never just be a team that, okay, goalkeeper, just kick it and go long to the big man. I don't advertise that kind of football, and it's not for me. So I'll say my style of play is to try and keep the ball on the floor, but at the same time, being able to have players that can adapt, because there are sometimes you're going to go to football pitches where you can't do that. So it's a bit of both, really. In terms of me shouting and things like that, and it's not more shouting, it's me, I'm just quite passionate, it's just encouraging more. It might come across as me shouting at people, and some players can't take that, but anyone that's worked with me and took their football serious have normally progressed really well in football. And I know it comes across like that, but I don't really have a comedy side. I don't really have a comedy side at football. It's just things that I say comes out like that. But obviously football is banter. But when I'm in the 90 minutes of the game, I am trying to win, and then obviously, you might have a bit of banter with the opposition manager on the sidelines and things like that. But in the main, I'm just trying to concentrate and win 3 points. Really, I just don't understand football players that turn up to football.
Just turn up.
Not having that focus of trying to win football matches. Like, don't get me wrong. Yes, football, there are players that just want to go on a piss and turn up and play football, but then everyone want to be involved in those kind of players or those kind of teams. So any team that I work for, doesn't matter what level, we're going to take things seriously and be as professional as we possibly can with the resources that we have.
So you've said growing up and watching Dutch and Brazilian football, you like to play, put the ball on the floor, and obviously in places, under leagues, when you can't do that, you adapt. So, but over the span, because you've been managing for 13 years, how has your game evolved? So that's always been your philosophy, but have you always played like that? Because we see the game changes.
Yeah, as I said, I would say up until maybe 6-7 years ago, I would say, I just used to be trying to score more goals in opposition, and normally
by any means
that worked quite well for us. But as I said, for example, 7-8 years ago, I wouldn't like when I did have a budget, first went into Aveley, I wouldn't have said that defenders would be my priority in terms of paying the most money. It would be more to the attackers. But in actual fact, I think that's probably gone the reverse now, because good defenders are hard to come by now. So I think, especially centre-halves, I think centre-back stock's really high in non-league football, maybe even in modern-day football. Because if you look at Van Dijk and Maguire, they're probably earning a lot more than a lot of strikers. So, so as I said, you have to have a strong base, you have to have a strong spine, You have to have an able goalkeeper. One thing that I'll get frustrated in non-league is that you get goalkeepers that are technically really good, and if you put on if you put on a goalkeeping drill, would probably do everything that a Premier League goalkeeper could do, but coming in a match, they don't. So I've always believed that, or not always believed, the best goalkeeper I ever played with wasn't technically the best. He was the most vocal and gave the best information when he was standing behind me, telling me to go left, to go right, to clear the ball, to bring the ball down. And that's another thing I find in goalkeepers that's dying, is people talking and defenders.
Okay.
So it's, for example, I had a centre back last year that's 37, and I mean, years ago those kind of players probably wouldn't have been playing, but they're gold dust now because they're still doing it. And you know what I mean? I just find football, for example, when I get a lot of CVs and a lot of trialists asking for trials and things like that, and you get centre backs or defenders saying I'm really good on the ball and can dribble out the ball out of defence and etc. But yeah, that's like I said, I wouldn't take a player that wouldn't be comfortable on the ball or couldn't do that. But I think you have to have that really in this day and age.
Yeah, that's your requirement.
Yeah, so it's not something that I'll take a player that can defend first, then rather than someone that can comfortable on the ball but can't defend.
Yeah,
I want to know, as a defender, your job is to keep clean sheets. When I played football, if my team drew 0-0, I'm coming to change and buzzing. Yeah, the strikers, attackers are probably moaning because they've not had no service or not scored any goals. But I'm coming in, I'm celebrating, I'm having a beer in the clubhouse after the game. I've done my job. I'm going home happy. I'm a centre back. I'm not there to win games. I'm there to stop the team from losing and conceding goals.
Losing games, yeah.
And that's what I try and tell defenders: do your job. Don't worry about if you set up a goal today or if you scored a goal. You know what I mean? So yeah, just everyone does. If everyone does, football is an easy sport. Believe me, it's just made difficult by people that try and make it difficult.
More complex.
Like you get all these coaches that try and bring all fancy cones to training and things that they've been coached on a computer or in a lab. To me, football is not difficult. Difficulty in football is players wanting or believing in what you're trying to do, and that's the hardest thing as a manager to get done. That players believe, or a player believes. So if I believe a player is really good, then they need to believe it as well. Yeah, I give them the trust and the confidence to do certain things, but don't do it, because you get a lot of players in pre-season. You're thinking, wow, you found an absolute gem here. This player, give it for 3-4 months, we're losing to maybe a conference club.
Yeah.
Come the league starts, they're not the same player because the pressure of playing. I don't know if you heard the last bit there.
Yeah, no, you just said the pressure for playing non-league, like after pre-season, it gets to them and they're just not the same player. So I was gonna ask, so yeah, you're talking about players and your requirements in terms of like player recruitment now. So you're talking about what you look for in a player. Does that translate to young players as well? Because you can still coach them to a certain degree. But what are the foundations you look for in the young players? Is it talent or attitude?
Well, I love working with young players because, especially young players that want to learn and are like a sponge, are willing to take the information and the criticism. You get some young players at 17, 18, 20 think they've made it and they should be in the Premier League, and I don't care how good you are a manager, whether it's me or someone else, you're not going to get the best out of them because they're in a different mind frame. And but a player that says that you can see wants to learn, is hungry, is first at training, last at training, is taking on board everything you're saying, is phoning you, is contacting you, asking. I love when players after a Saturday say, I did it with a couple of players last year, can you tell me how you judge my performance today, what I done good, what I didn't do well, what I can improve on, those kind of things. I always ask players to question managers and coaches when they're putting on sessions or trying to do things to improve them. So when I'm looking for in a player, whether it's young or old, is first and foremost, are they comfortable on the ball? Are they good in their position? So if you're a defender, can they defend like I just elaborated on? In midfield, it depends on what kind of midfield you're looking for. If they can get, if you want a box to box, can they get to both boxes, or are they someone that's comfortable getting the ball to the back four? What I look for in a wide player, which is not easy again to get today, is you don't get many wide players that want to cross the ball into the box. They always want to come in. So that's another thing that it's not that I do know some, either can't afford them or can't get them, or there's just not enough of them. So and within a striker, depending what system you're looking for, but I like strikers that like to stretch the defence, that like to run in behind, because I was a centre back, and that's the worst thing you want to do is turn and have to run backwards. A striker that just says, I'm just a hold up man. To me, yes, you should be able to do that, but you should be able to go the other way as well, because hold up, when I was a centre back, I'd rather play against someone who's leaning into me all day long, because I can see where you're going, I can push you away from the goal.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so like I said, for different positions to be how I look for the player. I wouldn't look for one player to cover all different positions. If I'm saying to me and my staff, oh, we need this certain position, then I'll go and look for that. If I want a winger that I want to be direct and cross the ball, I want a winger that's coming off the line, or if I want a centre mid that's going to get on the ball and spray passes and do 1-2 touches and hold the midfield together, then that's what I'd identify. So it's different for different positions, and what I want for that position, I'll look for. But in terms, the main thing, as well as all what I've named, is I just want players that want to win and take football seriously. If you're giving up 3 days of your week as a player, you're only giving up not 2 evenings on a Saturday and maybe a Tuesday evening, where a manager is 24 hours a day. But if a player's giving up that much time, then do it correctly.
Yeah,
that's that's one of my bugbearers, is that players. Is that they turn up, you get some players that are committed, don't miss a session, don't miss a game, but they're either not looking after themselves outside of football and not doing things correctly. And I just don't get that. Like, there were teams, there's players that play at a lower level for a reason. There's no one that plays at a lower level because they have to.
Yeah.
They have to. You know what I mean? There could be different circumstances. It could be because they can't commit to football because of work.
Yeah.
That again, they've put their job priority. That's understandable. But a lot of, if you're playing football on a Saturday at a half decent level, whether it's SSC in the league or SS Olympian League, you still have to train, or you have to keep yourself reasonably fit.
Yeah.
So it's still a commitment. So if you're doing that, why not do it at the best level as you can? Sunday league's different. There's some players I know that can't play Saturdays because they work on Saturdays, so they just turn up on Sundays. That's totally understandable, and I've got no problem with that. I've got a problem with people that cheat themselves and play at a level which they shouldn't be playing at, and their excuse is, well, I can't commit. But you know they can, because you probably go and see them on a Tuesday watching a Ryman League game or a conference game, and they could have been at training for someone. So to me, it's about having the right mentality, being strong-minded, and want to win. I want to just match I always say to players, match my work rate. If I give you half-hearted work rate, give me half-hearted work rate. If I give you 100%, give me 100%. So that's it. I'm a fair manager in terms of I've never really dropped a player and said, you know what, you've had a bad game. You've had a bad game. Like, I can't play you today. I can't really remember doing that. And if anyone needs that, I would stand to be corrected. But I can never remember saying, you know what, you've had an absolute terrible game today. I'm dropping for the next game. I might have said as a collective, as a team, that you've all not performed well today, and that you might be doing extra training on Tuesday or something like that. But I normally only leave a player out of a team, or sort of move a player on, if he becomes unprofessional, not putting the same work ethic he is that I know he can, cheating himself for the team, or just becomes lazy and lack of commitment. That's when I would sort of not let a player play for me anymore, really.
Fair enough.
By bringing them onto a football club, I'm the one who's bought them, so I've obviously seen their ability that I know is good. You understand? I've seen something, so I'm not. If they're doing their best to tick all the boxes that I just said to you about commitment, hard work, and I know their ability, and they're not performing, then it's my I take the responsibility that I failed them, and that has happened. I've bought players to football clubs, and it's just not worked. And sometimes you have to sit down and have them conversation with players and say, look, I'm not perfect. If I was perfect, I'd be managing Real Madrid. It's just not working for you here. Sometimes that happens, and then they go to another club and do really well. That's football. And it's the same as I've had loads of players that have been told that they've got bad attitudes or not good enough at another club, and they've come and flourished under me. And that's how football is, though.
Okay. So the attitude is generally it's kind of between, because a manager, like you just said, a manager can say one player has a bad attitude and it comes works for you and he's good. So how you determine that attitude by obviously working with the player first time, but initially you mentioned that it's kind of about the skill you're looking for in said position. Now, I was gonna just dive up quickly now. Do you, with your player recruitment, because you don't see everybody on the grass, you see them in cages, on concrete. That's what I'm gonna say. Do you scout through like watching people on the playground in terms of kids, watching people in the cages and the concrete players? Like, how do you transfer that to the pitch as well when you see them and be able to access if they can use those skills? I know my question's a bit in depth, but yeah, you get where I'm going with this.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't say that I go and watch a lot of kids playing street football on the streets. So I'll be lying if I said that. But obviously, if I have come across it in my years of management where I've spotted a player, whether it's been playing five-a-side or no, I wouldn't even say nowadays. There's not even no one that really plays on concrete.
Yeah.
Really, if I'm honest with you. So anyone I'm thinking of concrete is when I was playing. So it's more like they're more playing AstroTurf or grass now, or five-a-side. So, but yeah, I have spotted players that have been unbelievable at five-a-side or small-sided games, or even playing in the park. And I've approached them and said, look, would you play for anyone? And they say no. Some I brought into training. I said, come and have a training session with us. They've done well. I've put them on a football pitch. Some of them just can't they can't bring those attributes that they've done in five-a-side to 11-side. Some have flourished. So I would look for a player anywhere. Like I've even been on holiday before and met a player and playing football with them and found out that they're from London and etc. And sort of invited them to come and play for me that way. Through word of mouth, I go and watch a lot of games myself. Obviously, I do Sunday league football. There's a lot of talent there as well. So I see Sunday football players. I play five-a-side now and again. I'll see players from there. Or if I played against a team, I like a player then I'll put a 7-day approach. So there's all different ways. But and also I have a lot of friends that work in professional football that will give me young players that have been released from clubs and academies or second-year scholars and things like that. So there's millions of ways that I get players in. There's not just one way really. So,
and is this?
I'll probably even forget a lot of things.
Sorry, I was going to say this for Colchester, or do you do for Barking as well?
No, in terms, I thought you was asking me for Well, in terms of for Barking, I was more talking about in terms of me getting players in for Colchester.
Okay.
How the Colchester thing sort of came about was there's a player that called Junior that I had at Aveley, and he went to play abroad in somewhere, I think like Cyprus or something like that, and then he came back to the country, and this was 3 years ago, and said to me like, can I come and join you at Barking? I said to him, look, you just come out playing full-time football. Let me try and find you something a bit more suited to full-time football. So I had a few calls around at pro clubs, but you know, it's like if he's not really done it in England, they're not really going to take it serious. But I knew Morden had a link with Colchester, or they still have a link with Colchester, where a lot of Morden players train full-time, or they're part of the Colchester system. So I contacted a friend who was manager at Morden at the time and said, look, take this boy in. He's going to want this certain amount of money, but the reason I'm sending you him, because he said to me, why are you not keeping him? Which would be a question that I'll be saying if I was managing. So why would you, if he's this good that you're saying, why are you not having him? I said, because I actually do care about players. I do put players' needs before my needs sometimes.
Yeah.
I could have been selfish and took him, but I said, no. I said the only reason I'm giving him to you is because I want him to have the opportunity to train full-time with coaches, there's 21s, 23s, and full-time with yourselves, but he's going to want this certain amount of money. If you can make this promise, then you can have him. They said, all right, let him have a trial game with us. Brought him in for a trial game, and he scored 4 goals in a trial game for them. So, and they was over the moon. They signed him, and that season, I think he scored like 28 goals for Morden. And by the January, he got a 3-year pro contract at Colchester. He was playing for Colchester's first team. So Colchester in the summer, well, the manager of Morden told Colchester that summer, you need to recruit Justin. You need to get him involved. They wanted to get me involved in Morden, and like he knows players. He's got a lot of players that he can get you in the club. And I went up to Colchester, had a meeting with the director of football there, and they just said to me, look, we can offer you a couple of roles. But some of the roles they financially for full-time wasn't going to suit me. So I said to them, I'll take like a role where it's not going to be full-time and I can do it in my own time, really. So they just said to me, if you can recommend or send any players in between the ages 17 to 23 that you believe can make it professional football, then obviously you send them in and you'll get paid sort of from that way, really. So that's what I do, really. So it's not really something where I go into Colchester. It's more like on the phone sort of thing and sending players in for their 23s, really. That has potential to make it full time.
Okay, fair enough. That's good. And then you've been doing that for how long, roughly?
2 years, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I want to just quickly get into like the Gaffer as a fan now, yeah? So the fan version of Gaffer, not the manager Gaffer. Okay, so maybe so much to Justin, the fan, yeah? Right, who do you support?
Tottenham Hotspur is the best. And I see you're wearing that shirt.
Now,
if I would have known you was an Arsenal fan, I would have put my Tottenham shirt on.
My next question don't relate to you. I was going to talk about, I was going to say the length of you've been watching football. I was going to say, so do you think overall, because Balak's done a thing now, he's come out and said about Van Dijk being the best. I was going to say, do you think that...
Who said that, sorry? Sorry, what did you say?
Michael Ballack was talking about Van Dijk. Did you see it, Michael Ballack, what he said about Van Dijk being the best and not playing?
No, I didn't see it, but go on.
So basically, Michael Ballack's come out and said Van Dijk not been playing with Drogba, Thierry Henry, all the greats. That wasn't his era. So how can you say he's the best centre back and like one of the best? I was gonna say, do you think the quality of players has dropped, or do you think just the spread between the best and the worst is a lot thinner now? So it just doesn't look like, and the game's changed. So nowadays it's a lot faster and the players' requirements to get into the Premier League is a lot higher. So it doesn't look like the qualities of players is as good as was before. What do you think?
Yeah, I have a couple of takes on that. Obviously the game keeps evolving and keeps improving. So I do think the game's faster. You've got to be fitter, stronger, more professional, more organised, better coaches, better training. That's all facts. But yeah, there are one thing I will say is in my opinion, defending is much worse now than it was 15, 20 years ago. Without a shadow of a doubt. I think attacking is better though. I think football. I think the style of football.
Why do you think defense is worse?
Because if I was to ask you to name 10 world-class centre backs, and I'm talking the top of the range, I don't think you can do it. Now, if you ask me, or you might have your opinion, but I couldn't. If you don't get and let me make this quite clear, anyone that's a professional footballer is unbelievable because it's not easy to be a professional footballer. So I'm not one to criticise because I'm not a professional footballer. But I'm talking about, as you just said, the Van Dijks. Now, is there 10 Van Dijks in the world? No, there is not. Right. Now, if you go back 15, 20 years ago, or between those eras, you could name 10 world-class centre-backs, in my opinion. Okay. Maldini, Cannavaro, the list will go on. The list will go on. So, and I'm saying that almost every team will probably have one. So that's why I'm saying to you, in my opinion, defending, like fullbacks are better because they attack now. Fullbacks like Trent at Liverpool, I think is on the route to being world class, if not already.
Robbo on the other flank.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is, in terms of going forward, I think football's totally improved, but I don't think defensively it has. And I've not really checked the stats, but I'm pretty sure that if you saw defenses 10, 15 years ago to now, there's probably more goals scored now. But that would be my only thing that I would say is that I don't think like how many times has Van Dijk been beaten up by a striker? And when I mean beaten up, like what Ballack says is, now if you play against Drogba, he's going to be coming off with some bruises.
Okay, you mean beaten up as in physically?
Yeah. I mean, like come off the pitch like.
Yeah.
Like I need a 2 days rest. It's normally just running in behind and sweeping up things.
Yeah.
And that would be my only argument to say, I think defenders ain't that. They're more prettier. They're not. I mean, look, I'm not saying Steve Bruce is world class, but they have broken noses. I'm not saying that has to be football, but I'm saying that's because defending was much more tougher. People were throwing elbows. Yeah, maybe you're not allowed to tackle as much now as you did before, but yeah. To me, defending is not as good, but attacking is much, much better.
But it's the art of defending. It's a different style of defending. So some of these defenders that are world-class can't match the pace of what a Van Dijk would do. And I started watching football 2003. So I saw the back end of the era you're talking about and some on the just transition. Some of them cannot handle I've never seen a defender have the impact Van Dijk has had. Like as fans saying like this guy is very much world class, and I've seen it on players that when they get the ball, they literally fear going in his direction. You see them on the ball. A lot of Tottenham, you man, it happened to you man with Sissoko and that, but we're not gonna talk about that. It's not about Spurs. But when they see Van Dijk on the ball, like when they have the ball, they're not going in his direction. I'm not seeing strikers and people have in fear of a defender.
Well, the biggest compliment I can give to Van Dijk is Liverpool went from challenging for fourth spot to put him in a team to win the league. So I can't remember a centre back being that much of an impact for a long time. Yeah, so he's obviously, that's why he's considered the best. And if you was to model what you'd want in a centre back, he probably ticks every single box. So comfortable on the ball, tall, left side is right sided, great in the air, can tackle, can cover ground,
vocal, leader,
score goals in corners. So vocal, leader, captain. So yeah, so it's probably. I've only ever seen one striker causing problems. I think I can't remember his name now. I'm trying to think who it was. I don't know it was. I think it.
Napoli.
Yeah, there's one striker. There was two, I can't remember it now, but I've never seen it. He looks comfortable, and that's what I'm saying to you. When he comes off the pitch, to me, he looks like he's going to play another 90 minutes.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like he's come off the pitch and he's had to work hard.
Okay.
But that's probably a compliment to him, how good he is.
Yeah. Okay. So.
But yeah. So.
Okay. So we've gone a bit over time, and we could sit here and chat about world class and average ballers.
Yeah.
But I know you got stuff to do as well. So I just want to round up with a couple quick fire questions, which I know you might go in depth. I've got 6 here. So just to give, without giving out your age, what's your first football memory, like professional football memory, as a fan?
Paul Gascoigne. 1990 World Cup.
Was he as good as they say he was?
For me, if I had to name 3 of my all-time great players, he would probably be in it.
Gaza.
Yeah. For me, and maybe that's just because I grew up idolizing him when I was a kid. Where I don't know, when you was playing football, you was probably running the playground saying Henri or whatever. I was running the playground saying I was Gaza. So that maybe that's a bit of bias from that point of view. What I would say is there weren't players doing what he was doing back then, taking people on from centre mid. Yeah, to me, he could have been. He should have. Well, he was, but I'm saying he should have been even better than what he was in terms of, obviously his alcohol problems and his injuries didn't help. But yeah, he was unbelievable. And anyone that says otherwise is either not from that era or didn't really understand Paul Gascoigne. And I'm saying to you, he's unbelievable. Yeah. But that's just my opinion. There's obviously loads of other players, but I'm only going to answer honest answer. Another player that a bit after when I was a bit older, but again, he's in my top 3 of world-class players, is Ronaldinho. Now, if I was to be honest with you and say, if you put me on a spot and say, who's your favourite all-time player, I would probably say Ronaldinho.
Yeah.
And the reason I say that is I supported Real Madrid, believe it or not. That's my Spanish team. But when he played for Barcelona, I just loved it. He's a footballer that they say Sadio Mane does. They say other players do, but he's the first football player. Dwight York did it, but he's the first football player that I remember that played football as he was playing 5-a-side or futsal with his mates. Just come out from a night out, had a jolly. It just wasn't no pressure. He wasn't playing in front of 100,000 people. He's probably 2 of his mates on the side and watching, expressing himself, taking people on, scoring goals. That big smile. Yeah, I just loved watching him. And for me, I don't think he's underrated, but I do think he gets disrespected when he's not the same comparison as Messi and Ronaldo.
Yeah.
And the only reason why he wasn't is because he did enjoy, a bit like Gaza, he enjoyed the lifestyle, he enjoyed the nightlife and enjoyed partying a bit more. And Ronaldo and Messi don't do that. So their longevity is what probably sets them apart. But for me, in terms of just ability, Ronaldinho is definitely in their category.
Yeah. You answered my next question, but fair enough. Let me just quickly throw one in there. What do you think is the difference, like the importance of the eye test and people using stats nowadays? Because our generation uses stats. But
yeah, I think stats are good. I wouldn't say that it's something that I'll solely base my situation on signing players on. But there are some stats that you need to let players know so they can try and break them or improve them.
Yeah.
I was only talking to a friend yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before about it? But there was a stat. One of my mates, who's a striker, that he scored all his goals before Christmas, and was didn't score many after Christmas. So I just said to him, "You need to." What's wrong?
That's hilarious. No, I'm laughing at your stat. That's hilarious. Because what's the psychology behind that? Is that just, or is it coincidental?
No, well, so I had a conversation with him, and he said, well, he's going to prove that wrong. And this year he's proved it wrong, and he's top goal scorer in his league.
Okay.
So, and that's credit to him. Like at the end of the day, some stats are rubbish. Some stats don't really are relevant to me. But some stats, as I said, in that situation, is one to try and improve a player, saying, look, and he probably wasn't aware of it. But a lot of it came down to is that some managers were responsible for that as well. It wasn't just the player. So, you know what I mean? It could be a manager, change of manager, or the manager's not playing him after Christmas or whatever, or it could be a number of different reasons. But when I see a stat and I see it consistently being the same and it's something that needs to be improved, I'll bring it to a player. But like we had in my team this season, we had a stat where we had one player that we never lost a game all season when he was on the pitch. So that's a stat that I'm quite superstitious.
Yeah.
So that was a stat that I loved, and it was a stat that I reminded him about that. I think that helped to motivate him to when he was on the pitch, and it was a great stat to have. So he was either he wasn't on the pitch or he didn't start the game, but we never lost a game when he was on the pitch or been playing. So there are some stats that are really good and can play in your advantage, but then there's some stats that are not. I'm trying to think of a stat that's not good. Example, I don't know. It could be a stat that you've got a player in a team that's not scored or assisted a goal, but he could be your most important player off the ball for your team.
Yeah.
So
but that's the eye test kicking in because you ain't got a stat for that. Yeah. So
right. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and I probably have got a player like that who I think is very important for us and probably covers more ground and more miles than any other player.
Yeah.
And does the ugly side of the game that no one wants to do.
Yeah.
Because it has to be done. Even though I want to play pretty, there's an ugly part of it because no one wants to spend their whole game being the mop, so to speak. I mean, mopping up the dirty water.
Yeah. I hear you. Okay, last two questions before I get you off. You've already said your greatest. You said Gaz was your first football memory, so I'm getting that mixed up. Your greatest player, you said, is that Dino or your favorite player? Or is that different?
Well, for me, Ronaldinho is my favorite player, but the best player is Messi.
Okay.
But my favorite player is Ronaldinho. Yeah.
What's the best player you've worked with?
Oh, that's a tough question. Best player I've worked with.
Without putting you under the lights too tough, or you don't want to try to reveal it because some people could get upset.
Yeah. Do you know what I would say is, I only worked with him for a short while, and the only reason I'm going to mention him is because he played for England and Liverpool and West Ham was Paul Konchesky. Yeah. And the only reason I'm going to mention him is obviously I've not done anything for his career or affected his career or helped him in any way. Is that I was managing Billericay at the time, and he came to Billericay.
Yeah, Billericay, because that's when he.
Yeah, I was managing Billericay, and he came to Billericay, and obviously you've got a player that elite level that you're thinking, okay, is he going to listen to me? Is he going to take me serious? And I'll tell you now, mate, in terms of attitude and respect and commitment and taking on instructions on board and following drills, and his attitude was out of this world. It blew me away. Like, he was just so professional, so listening, and not, you just get some people that were like, yeah, I'm still getting paid my wages. You're just blah blah. He was listening, he was taking it on board, and he was implementing it into matches, and that's something that stuck with me. And even to this day, we're still in contact. We're still someone I would class as a friend, and that is, I wouldn't take credit for saying he's the best player that I've worked with, because he came to us at the end of his career where he's already achieved it, played for England, West Ham, and Liverpool. But that's, I would say, because of the elite level he's played at, and because of the professional attitude he showed, then I've got to mention that. And I think that way gets me away with really upsetting anyone as well.
Fair enough. Okay. What's your most painful football memory? Don't say the Champions League last season. You were never gonna win. What's the most?
Well, I thought you was more asking me as myself playing and managing.
Okay, yeah. Let's do Matt.
I'll answer both. My most painful memory and the only reason I'm going to mention it is because I cried my eyes out was 1990 World Cup.
Okay,
I think it's the only time I've ever.
Italian 90.
1990 Italia World Cup. Yeah, I was 10 years old, and I remember crying my eyes out when England got knocked out. I think it's the last time I ever cried really at football. Yeah, it was soul destroying. I was 10 years old, and I must have been bawling for hours in my mum's arms. So that's watching football. That would be my most painful memory. Playing, I'd answer playing, then I do managing. Playing, playing was probably breaking my leg and knew that I probably would never play football again at a decent level. And managing would be There's two. I'm gonna have to name two. The first one was being when I was with Bethnal Green. We got to the quarter-final, so 2 games away from Wembley in the FA Vase. Went away to Newcastle, the team in Newcastle. Sky Sports there, everything, and we got knocked out of that. That was quite painful. But on the flip side, the next day I took the Aveley job, so that was a strange 24 hours for me. And then the second one would be probably losing the playoffs to Malden when I was Aveley manager in 2013, because we had a man sent off after 30 minutes, and we lost the game 2-1. Yeah, it was soul destroying, really. And there's interviews that you can see after. It was just, it was at the end of the world, really. It was quite, because we was a better team in my opinion anyway. But we had a man sent off after 30 minutes, and it's never going to be easy after that. So yeah, they're the two that stick out in my mind.
You've been through it. You've been through it.
It makes you, wherever you go through makes you stronger, mate.
Yeah, definitely. Balling in Italian 90. Oh man, glory days. Yeah.
If you ever watched that game, you gotta watch it, mate.
Nah, I need to go watch it. I don't like watching old football games because they just look a bit like there. But yeah, I need to go back and watch that.
Well, even I was watching the 2001 FA Cup. I think Arsenal won it, wasn't it? On Ashley Cole last night. Don't know if he was watching it on Match of the Day. Ashley Cole last night.
No, I wasn't. Who's against Chelsea?
Yes, there was a couple they showed, but my point I'm going to, that's 19 years ago, and that to me looked so old, and I'm thinking, wow. And you're talking about players like Henry playing Patrick Vieira and that, and that don't seem that long ago, but it's 19 years ago that was
mad. Yeah. It's quite, and it's sad as an Arsenal fan. Just don't say those names, man. Because we're not in a good place right now. But yeah,
well, we're not too. We're probably in a similar position now.
You lot have never been good, but yeah, let's just.
I'll let you have that one, mate.
Let's just, what's it called? Let's wrap it there. The Gaffa. It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure. Sorry about the internet connection.
No, that's all right.
My auntie making calls to Nigeria right now, so it's just sorry about that. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Guys, do you have anything to promote? Are you going to be shameless and promote something?
No, really. Just obviously, anyone that wants to follow someone that's passionate about football and wants to win, then obviously my ats on socials is TH Gaffa, and that's it really. I've got a YouTube channel that I'm doing where I'm going to bring out content on called Inspirador FC, which it just be similar to things what you're doing really in terms of interviewing people. So just that was really something that I did while we was in lockdown, really, to keep everyone entertained, but see how it goes for the future. No problem. We'll put all your socials there and everything so people can get at you. But thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for having me. Bruv, it's a wrap, people.